Hi everyone, I hope everyone is well. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I have 3 more Christmas in July projects to share. Number 1 will be this boho style star. Taking 2 of the laser cut wood star shapes from the Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square section, I will be adding some beads. I picked these up from Amazon, but the Dollar Tree does carry beads now. I am going to sandwich those beads in between the 2 stars, making a decorative, sturdy piece out of both of those stars. And here I'm showing you, I want to add the beads face up, and especially on each point of the star, I want to line up the holes of the bead with the holes in the stars. That way I can thread some yarn or some jute through those holes. So I'm going to start at the peaks, and then I just started adding beads along the sides of the points. And mine are a little spaced out, but you can have them spaced out as far as you would like or close together. It's just a matter of personal preference. And then taking some wood rounds or discs, I'm going to be adding that to the inside of the star once I get all my beads glued down, just like so. That way the middle has some support. And I did end up gluing one on the outside as well, and we'll see that in just a bit. And here is what my star looks like so far. I have the round disc glued to the center of the star for stability, and all the beads are now glued down. And then I'm going to take some watered down white chalk paint, and I'm going to give a coat on all my pieces inside and out. And I am making sure to get inside all those nooks and crannies and in between all of my beads. In order to line up the holes on each point of the star, I will be using this leftover rope from those hanging shelves that you could pick up from the Dollar Tree, but you can use jute or yarn, or and whatever color you would like, as long as it fits through the hole in the star and the beads as well. So I'm going to start from the top or the front of the star, and then I'm just going to stick it through the bead and then through the back start, just like so. I did tape the ends to get it to go through, and then I'm just going to tie those in a knot for now. Right now I'm just getting everything lined up, but we will be using this string later on. Once you attach the string to each peak or point on that star, now all of your holes lined up, and now we can start gluing. I just glued sporadically here and there. I am using Gorilla hot glue. This glue holds well for me. So here I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm just gonna go in between the beads just like that and just add some glue here and there and glue both pieces together, making one solid piece. And now, taking some half beads, I will remove the string from the bottom 2 points of the star, and I'm going to cover up that hole with a half bead, just like so. Instead of removing the rope from the last 3 points on the star, just undo your knot and then glue your string down onto the point and add that half bead right on top of the rope. So add a little bit of glue just down to the point like that. Glue that down. This way your rope will hang nice and will not move once it is hanging. And just add a half bead just like so. We will be adding some tassels to the ends here, and that rope is what we'll be using to attach the tassel. For the embellishments for this star, I'll be using this rosemary pick that I picked up from Walmart for 97 cents. And I'm just going to use some pieces just to lay down on each side of my bows. And then for some contrast, I found this piney pick. It is flocked. I cut off some pieces. I used some Scotch tape to tape those together, and then I just glued them down, Scotch tape and all. And then I made a cute bow with some ribbon that I picked up from Walmart, gosh, a couple years ago. And then I have this new ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree. It's got like a white stitching. I just think it's so pretty. And I'm not going to show you how I make my bows because I'm not the greatest bow maker. So I'm just going to fast forward to the point that my bow is made, because it probably took me half a day to make this bow. So I just started gluing everything down just like so, and there is that cute bow that I made, and then I'm going to glue that right on top of the greenery right in the center of my star. After looking at the star for a bit, I just felt like the greenery needed more bulk, so I did add some more pieces right above the bow, and I did add some berries to the top of that. I just think it made the world of difference. And let me know what you think down in the comment section. I would love to know, would you have left it or would you have added more like I did? And here I have already added a tassel. I need to add one to the left side. Here I'm just showing you I'm using that same rope that I've used throughout this project. I wrapped it around my 4 fingers 8 times, and then I'm going to use a clip to hold those in place. And then I want to add a bead to the top of my tassel, just like you see on the right side. So I'm going to use a clip just like so. I'm going to add a bead to the existing string or rope that we glued down, just like so, and then we'll attach the tassel. I added a bead to each side. I tied it in a knot. Now taking those loops that we made, you're just going to stick one end of the rope through, tie that in a knot, and that's going to be the top of our tassel. And then here I'm going to show you how to hide your knot on your tassels. I take a piece of rope, just like so. I start at the top, leaving it long so I know where it's at. Then I make a loop smaller than the rest of my loops. And then here I only wrapped 3 times because this rope is pretty thick. So here's 2, and then 3, and then I cut it off, and then I'm going to stick that same piece that I was using. I stuck it through the loop, pulled tight, and then you just cut that right off just like so. And then all you have left to do is trim your ends and your tassel is done. I wanted to add some beads to my hanger, so I removed that piece of rope that I already attached. I'm going to reattach a longer piece, add some beads, then a half bead to cover up the hole, and this star is complete. The second project today, I made this whimsical Gnome for the Holidays sign that is perfect for my kitchen this year, and I cannot wait to put it up. For this project, I'll be using the arrows from the Dollar Tree. I have 2 different sizes here, and here you only see 4 pieces. I did end up using 6, and I'll tell you why in just a bit. After removing all the staples and all the tags and all the hangers, Now they're ready to cut. So I want the top arrow to be just a bit smaller than the shorter arrow on the bottom. So I'm just gonna mark with a pencil where I want to cut. I'm gonna draw a line and then cut it off with my miter saw, but you can use whatever devices you usually use to cut this wood. It is very soft wood. So here I'm marking, but you see how I'm marking the mark longer than the arrow on the bottom. You actually want it shorter. I did make a mistake. I did have to go back and make another cut. And then taking some spackle, I'm just going to spackle the holes on the bottom arrows, just like so. Once those are dry, we will sand those down and get them ready for paint. For the top arrows, I painted mine with the color Old Ivy green, and for the bottom arrows, they will be different. One will have red stripes and one will have red polka dots. And then for the stripes on the bottom arrow for one, I will be using this thin washi tape that I picked up from the Dollar Tree to add some spaces. So what I did is I just painted around the perimeter of the arrow with some white chalk paint. I didn't have to paint on the inside because the green arrow will be glued to the top of that. So here I'm just going to take that washi tape using one piece as a spacer, and I'm just going to make some lines all the way around my arrow. And for my red stripes, I did use the color Crimson chalk paint by Waverly, and I will also add some red polka dots using the same crimson color onto the second arrow. And I just used the end of a paintbrush for my polka dots, making them all different sizes, just like so. You just want to dip the end of your paintbrush into the paint and then onto your project. While my polka dots dry, I'm going to start working on the striped arrow, and here you can get a better idea of what I mean, how I want the top arrow to be smaller than the bottom arrow. And here I'm just going to sand off some pieces, it looks like, and I'm just going to get a feel for where I want to glue. But before I glue these down, I do want to add my vinyl. So on the one arrow it says fresh baked cookies, and on the other one it says fresh baked pies. And here is where I ran into a problem. Well, not so much a problem, more of a mistake on my part. Another happy accident. I have so many happy accidents, it's not even funny. Okay, so my original idea for this project was I was going to make these arrows, and then I was going to make a sign that said holiday calories don't count. And I thought that was going to be really cute, and I will make something like that in the future because I did like that idea. And I was just going to glue these pieces onto a stick or a stand and maybe set that on my kitchen table during the holidays. But while I was adding my vinyl, so here I'm working on the fresh baked cookies, I wanted one arrow going to the right, pointing to the right, and one arrow pointing to the left. Well, I added my vinyl, both arrows pointing to the right, and it totally messed up my whole headspace, my whole idea. So I just had to rethink. So what I did is I made one more arrow. That's where the 6 pieces come in instead of the 4. And I added I added famous, homemade, delicious fudge. And I made sure that arrow was pointing to the left, and that will be in the center of the 2 arrows pointing to the right. Once the vinyl was added to the arrow, here I'm just going to glue the top arrow onto the bottom arrow just like that. So adorable. And here is what this arrow is looking like. I painted the bottom with crimson and the top white with some dry brushing on the edges with that same old ivy green color. And there we have our middle arrow. So instead of making a sign that says calories, holiday calories don't count, I decided to use this gnome for the holiday sign. I love the colors. It matched my arrows. And if you all don't know, I love gnomes as well. So I thought, okay, this would be great. Now, the only problem I had with this sign is the glitter. It wasn't a whole lot of glitter, so it didn't bother me. But because my arrows were a little more farmhouse or plain looking, the glitter just was not working for me. So the glitter on the beard is what was bothering me. So what I did is I took a baby wipe and I wiped all of the glitter off. And you can do this with some of these signs. Now this particular piece, the cardboard or the, it's pressed wood, it started to come up on me a little bit. So I was very careful. So I used an emery board in some spots. And then I glued his beard with some white chalk paint and his little nose with the color sky pink lightened up with white paint. And I absolutely love the way that this came out. So here I'm just getting a feel of where I want to glue everything down, making sure my arrows are facing in the right direction this time. For my third project, I made this Marion Bright sign. Super simple, yet so bold in my opinion. This is such a classic piece. I absolutely love it. It just brings back memories. It looks like something that my mother would have had in her home. So fast forwarding, I painted the whole piece white. I taped off some stripes. I painted the stripes with the color crimson, and there we have it. And now I want to add some red polka dots using that same crimson. And I'm just going to make some different size polka dots on all of the white area. Just using the end of a couple of paint brushes, different sizes. I just made some polka dots, like I said before, just like so. And then cutting out with my Cricut the words Marion Bright with white vinyl. I'll just add that to the red stripe, just like so. And then I made this super classic bow. I think it came out so pretty. The bottom is red burlap from the Dollar Tree, and the top is a white satin ribbon with silver trim. And there we have it there. And then I cut just a little piece of the red and added that to the center of the bow, just like so. I glued that onto the sign, and this sign is almost done. I used some felt shapes one day, and this is what was left after punching out those felt pieces. They look like stars to me. So I'm just going to glue one of those felt scrap pieces right to the bottom of the ornament sign, just like that. And I just love adding little details to my signs and whatnot. It just adds a little bit more, don't you think? Let me know what you think down in the comment section. I would love to know. Would you have left it plain, or would you have added that star if you had it? Anyway, that was it. Super simple for this one. What do you think? I think they came out so cute. I cannot wait to put these up for Christmas. I know I am uploading this video on the very last day of July, but I made it. I made it. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you all for watching my video today. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope most of all that I have inspired you and gave you some ideas for your Christmas projects this year. All right, well, thanks again, everyone, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye for now.